The start of the Premier League season is very, very close. It's very, very imminent. We have few hours to go, and I'm here to actually list my predicted Premier League 2026 to 2027 ending of season table. Teams that I feel are going to finish from first to 10th and the bottom half of the table. So it's going to be a little bit lengthy, but then again, I'm going to hasten up. So my number 20 position, I'm going to start with Ipswich. Why I feel Ipswich is going to finish 20th is you don't sack a manager that helped you from the championship down to the Premier League and appoint a new coach. That is betrayal of his highest level. So that's why I actually feel they're going to finish in the 20th position. Then for the 19th position, Hull City. Hull City is a good team. If you check their progress from the championship, they are trying. But then again, you cannot measure the intensity of Premier League and that of championship. They have a long way to go. Though they added 11 players, both offensive and defensive, spending about £75 million, but I don't think they are going to finish above 19th position. Then the number 18th position, sadly for me, I think is the Frank Lampard Coventry. Though Frank Lampard has actually bring stability, he has bring idea into the team. They have added players like Onyeka and Awoniyi, but I don't think this team is well equipped to meet up to the standard of Premier League elite teams. Then for my 17th position, I'm going to say Crystal Palace. Why Crystal Palace? Because they have lost a player in Oliver Glasner. Also, January they lost Gui, and they have lost McNeil, though they swapped him with they got McNeil and they swapped him with Brennan Johnson, and also they added Minguesa and Tomiyasu into the team. So Oliver Glasner is actually the major difference between last season and this season. It's going to be very, very hard for a new coach to actually transit this Crystal Palace team, because Oliver Glasner won a silverware there, winning the Europa Conference League. Then for my number 16 position is Everton. What I'm going to say Everton is, when you look at Everton and what David Moyes has done, David Moyes has actually built a structure that is very, very hard to defeat. Everton is very, very hard to defeat, especially in their home. But then again, they don't really have the attacking prowess to take them to the first half of the table, like the first to 10th position. I don't think they have those attacking prowess. Though they have added players like Tyreek George and Brennan Johnson. But then again, Brennan Johnson has been a failed player in the Premier League, playing for Spurs and going to Crystal Palace. He didn't really perform. But Tyreek George has a huge prospect going into the future. Then for my number 15 position, I would say Fulham. Fulham, when you look at the players that have lost Issa Diop, lost Jimenez in the striker, lost Marco Silva. Marco Silva has been the one actually keeping this Fulham squad. He understands them very, very well. And losing a manager like Marco Silva to Benfica, I don't think Fulham are going to really bring up a good fight. But I'm not taking anything from them. That's why I'm leaving them in number 15 position. So number 14th position, I'm going to say Leeds. Leeds is an okay team. They picked up very, very well in the second half of last season, and adding an experienced keeper like Trafford and also Harry Wilson, I think is going to add more depth into their team, and they have good players like Gonto and Calvert-Lewin. Then for my number 13th position, this is where it becomes very, very interesting. I'm going to say Newcastle. The players that Newcastle have lost, losing their coach Eddie Howe, losing their capitano Bruno Guimaraes, losing Sandro Tonali, their midfield is in a disarray right now, and I think the momentum has actually dropped. You understand? It's going to take a whole lot from the new managerial structure to actually ignite the spirit within this group. Then for my number 12th team, I'm going to go with Brighton. Brighton has not really added players into their squad, but then again, they have lost players like Danny Welbeck, they have lost Solly March, they have lost and CCO. So when you look at this Brighton team, you cannot take anything from them because their recruitment program is really, really crazy. You cannot take anything. Every year, you they know new players. Let's not forget they still have Minte and a very, very good coach. Then for my number 11 position, I'm going to go with Brentford. Brentford, there's no much difference between the last season and this season, though they have added Callum Wilson from West Ham and Sangari into their midfield position. But then again, Brentford is a very, very stubborn team. I believe they are going to create upset having a player like Igo Thiago still in the up front. I think that's a blessing for them going into this next season. Then my number 10 position, I would say Nottingham Forest because of Oliver Glasner. When you have a good coach that knows what he's doing, even though you lose an important player like Elliot Anderson is going to really affect them, but then they have a good depth, a squad depth, a good starting 11. So Oliver Glasner coming in, adding his experience, his Premier League experience, and for a manager that has won a silverware in a couple of years in this Premier League, I'm sure Nottingham Forest they are in a safe hand. Then my number 9 position, I would say Sunderland. When you look at this Sunderland team, they have actually built that team around experience, around Granit Xhaka. This was a team that came from the relegation zone last season. They finished seventh. And I believe this season, though the intensity of the Premier League is getting very, very more intense every season, that is why I'm not going to remove anything from there. I think they are going to finish ninth, and also they are competing in they are competing in Europe. I think that is going to also affect their gameplay this season at fatigue. That's why I'm actually leaving them in the ninth position. Then for my number 8 position, Bournemouth. Bournemouth. Bournemouth every season they keep on losing important players. Last season they lost their captain to PSG, lost Dean Huijsen, lost Semenyo. But then again, Krupi came in from nowhere. They have some young players that came in. They also lost Kekes. But when you see this structure, they have a good recruitment structure, just like Brighton. So I'm not removing anything from them. They're still an elite team. Then for my 7th position, this is where the whole um the whole list gets very, very interesting, because now we are going to focus on the big boys. So my number 7 position, I'm going to say Aston Villa. Aston Villa, because of they have lost Morgan Rogers, they have lost Yuri Stillman. Yuri Stillman really played an important role for them, playing the number 10 position. They won the Europa League. Also lost Onana to ACL. So these little changes, and you look the calibers of players that have brought, though they have Muzabi, that 17-year-old boy, is not really a matchup to the Premier League intensity, though he has the prospect. You can see it in the last match they played against PSG. They have also added Garnacho. I don't really rate Garnacho. I don't really see him adding so much. Though we don't know what is going to happen to Ole Watkins, whether he's going to stay or not, but they are in a safe hands under the watch of Unai Emery. And you can't take anything from Unai Emery. That is an experienced coach. His records are there for you to see. Then in my number 6 position, I'm going to go with Liverpool. I believe Liverpool are going to finish 6th. Why? Because of Liverpool are going through a whole lot of hurdles. They are yet to get over Jurgen Klopp, and now Arne Slot came in the first season. He came in like a messiah, and now he has lost his job because of how tough the Premier League season is. They have spent a whole lot of money last season, and those players have not actually live up to expectation. And look at the players that have added and the players that have gone. Mo Salah, their legend, left. Konate has gone, and the Robertson has left. And you see the players that have added, Munoz, Jacquez. These are not really quality to these elite players that has left. So that's why I'm going to leave them in number 6 position. They don't really have a big squad. They don't really have the squad depth to finish in the top 4. Then in my number 5 position, I'm going to say Spurs. Why Spurs? Is because of a brilliant man like De Zerbi. De Zerbi is a brilliant coach, helping them to escape the relegation battle, building a formidable team. adding so many key players. I think they have spent more out of compare their spending fee to that of other clubs, and they have added good players like Andy Robertson, players like Savinho, added so many players, great players. So I actually feel they are going to finish in the fifth position. Also, they have equipped their midfield with Tonali and Matheus Fernandes. So I'm leaving them in the fifth position. Then in the fourth position, I would say Man City, because of the man Pep Guardiola, the man that tormented so many rival clubs in the Premier League, and you can't remove anything for Pep. And also, they have lost Rodri, Ballon d'Or Rodri, lost Bernardo Silva. So these are quality players. Also, Savinho. And look at the players they have added: Elliot Anderson, Enzo Maresca coming in to coach. I don't think the team is really going to perform, but you can't take anything from a team that has Haaland and Foden. So for the number three position, I'm going to say Chelsea. Why I'm saying Chelsea because of Xabi Alonso. They are not really Xabi Alonso, and also Chelsea are not really performing they are not playing any European competition. So they are going to have a healthy squad going into this new season when they are, and Chelsea, the last time they didn't qualify and they were focused on the Premier League, they finished first. So this season, I think there's still going to be a whole lot of transition, and that's why I'm leaving Chelsea in the third position. And for the second position, I'm going to be leaving Arsenal there. Yeah, I'm going to be leaving Arsenal there. I would have said Arsenal first, but then again, the number one team in the whole world, in the whole of England, Manchester United, is my number one team to win the Premier League club. Though I'm a Manchester United fan, but you cannot remove anything from what Michael Carrick is doing, from what Ineos are doing, with the calibers of players that have come in, from what Michael Carrick did from from January till the end of last season Premier League. And when statistics came out that if we're to rank each team based on their performance from January till May, Manchester United is going to be number one. So that's why I'm ranking Manchester United number one. They have added good players, lost only Casemiro. And Arsenal too have added good players too. So I think it's going to be either Manchester United or Arsenal, but I believe Manchester is going to finish first.